For today's video, we're going to look at pieces made by the Homer Laughlin China Company for the Liverpool Chamber of Commerce in the late 1920s. They used the Quaker shape, which was rather new in the 1920s. Has a blue pattern. The center depicts the Bennett pottery from 1840, and it says the oldest pottery of East Liverpool on the bottom. An oak border, and then some gold lines, one on the edge and two on the verge. And the top says East Liverpool Chamber of Commerce. So there's a 13-inch platter, and it is dated 1927. A Quaker 9-inch plate. This is not a piece of Quaker. This is a specialty piece. This is the celery tray, but it was picked up and used with this line. We see the oak border and the gold lines. And a teacup. No marking on teacups. Teacups generally were not marked. Those are the only pieces I have. This is a really rare set to find. Not very much of it was made. Most of the pieces that are available are in the Museum of Ceramics at East Liverpool. There are also pieces at the Outlet Museum at the Fiesta Tableware Company in Knoll. So to find these on the open market are pretty rare. 3 of these I found on eBay, and 1 piece I found at Pottery City Antique Mall in East Liverpool. So how did these come to be? Well, I have copies from a trade journal. And these come from the Pottery, Glass, and Brass Salesman. This first one's dated January 27th, 1927, and the second one's a year later, January 26, 1928. And both talk a little bit about what's going on in the East Liverpool area, and they mention this set. So in the first one, they talk about William Edwin Wells of Homer Laughlin being at a banquet at the YMCA in East Liverpool. And he says at this banquet, or about the banquet, criticizing the, quote, most conglomerate mixture of dishes I have ever seen assembled, Mr. Wells said that he would see that the chamber was furnished with a complete banquet set without a cent of expense, quote, if I may be chairman and allowed to appoint other members of my committee. And they overwhelmingly agreed. He was very important, not only to the Homer Laughlin China Company and not only to East Liverpool, but the pottery industry in general in this country. He would have gotten his request whether he offered the dinnerware or not, I'm sure. Well, this is what they came up with, these pieces on the Quaker shape. And then on January 26, 1928, there's a write-up that talks about this set. And it says Homer Laughlin China Company contributed 1,700 pieces, which included 3 sizes of plates, cups, saucers, fruits, sugars, and creams, celery trays, and meat dishes. The meat dish, of course, being the platter. And of course, again, here's the celery tray. In the center is a reproduction of East Liverpool's first pottery, the old Bennett plant, built along the riverfront in 1840. And it also talks about the Laughlinware has an oak leaf cobalt blue border, which there you see the whole pattern. And again, these are dated 1927. So a very difficult and rather special pieces to have if you can find these. One last thing to talk about was this was not the final design. There are sample pieces at the factory that have it with different number of rings of gold. Like there's some that don't have any rings but has the edge. There's another version that has only 1 ring. And then there's this one, which I photographed. So it has 1 inside ring of gold. It has gold on the verge, but the pattern's in green instead of blue. Everything is the same, however. It's the same Bennett pottery and the same oak border. So there you have it. East Liverpool Chamber of Commerce dinnerware made in the late 1920s by Homer Laughlin.